Welcome to Open Pike Night, the Strange New Worlds podcast where your calls are the prime directive. I'm your host, producer John, here today to discuss the episode Terrarium with the star of Terrarium herself, Melissa Navia. Thank you very much for joining us.
It is my pleasure. Happy to be here.
And I'm joined, of course, by my co-host, the man who has been sleeplessly waiting for 3 years for the episode Terrarium to come out. He was so tired he didn't even realize what Terrarium meant. A glass box with a lizard in it. Jesse Bailey.
I spent so much of my time telling people, there's an Ortegas episode coming. Just believe me, it's going to happen. And it frayed my nerves. And yeah, like, as soon as we got our screeners, I was like, none of these titles sound like an Ortegas episode. What do I do? So I was pleasantly surprised all the way through.
Oh, awesome.
Well, Melissa, yeah, it's great to have you back once again on the Open Pike Night stage. And we know you're busy working somewhere between seasons 4 and 5, as far as we can tell. It's just going nonstop, man.
Yeah, it has been wild. We have had a very, very short break between seasons 4 and 5, and it feels like it is the year of Strange New Worlds, because in between we're still doing ADR for season 4, then we're promoting season 3, and I was in Ireland for a good bit, which I enjoyed thoroughly. But even while I was there, I was still doing Strange New Worlds work, and then I was prepping because I knew this episode was coming out, and so it has just been non-stop.
Wow. Well, again, thank you for carving out a little time to talk to the Open Pike Night crew once again.
Oh, always for you guys.
Thank you. We'll hop right into it. What was it like working with the puppeteer and the Gorn puppet?
Oh man, it was, first of all, it feels like both it was a long time ago and also like it was just yesterday. But going into the episode and finding out that it was going to be the long-awaited Ortegas episode, and also not just that, but it was going to be kind of solely Ortegas in the episode, which made me laugh because I was hoping to incrementally get to a big Ortegas episode, but they were like, no, all of it now. And then finding out that it was going to be Ortegas and the Gorn. I thought that a very difficult part of shooting was going to be acting opposite the Gorn, and that ended up being possibly one of the easiest aspects of it, because the Gorn itself, which underneath the Gorn is our incredible stuntman Warren Scherer, who I will be doing an Instagram live with soon. We just confirmed that today, and it's going to be awesome. But he is under the Gorn suit. And then on top of that is the Gorn head, which adds like another foot to Warren, who's already very tall. And then that is controlled by puppeteers who are just masterful at what they do. And so the first time acting opposite all of it, it was remarkable to me how lifelike it all was, and it really did feel like I was acting opposite something that I saw as a monster, something that was completely alien to me, and then also something that becomes Ortegas' friend, and it was just everything, like it was so emotive and so beautifully constructed. And when I would say something, it would respond in a way that you're like, oh my God, it's responding. But all that is said, and then the issue that I didn't consider was that there would be a good deal of time where a lot of my close-ups and a lot of me reacting to the Gorn was going to be done with me acting opposite no Gorn, because the suit is so heavy, the suit is so massive. Warren, if you guys have you interviewed him yet at all?
Not yet. We would love to.
You totally have to do it. He can speak more to the experience of being in that suit, but he had a fan running in there, like it was incredibly hot, and it felt like when he was in the suit we were on a timer, and so. What ended up happening is a lot of times when the camera was on me, I'd be acting opposite, our first AD, George. And I love George, but he is not the Gorn. Or sometimes I'd be acting opposite, an X mark, which happens a lot, for eye lines and things. But here it was just a whole different experience. And sometimes I'd just be acting opposite the Gorn head, and I could never quite work out what I liked least. Do you know what I mean? Of those things, because it'd be the Gorn head and nothing happening. And so it was, but it was really like you have to, much like Ortegas had to improvise and figure out what was happening on that Death Moon. I had to figure it out, on the go. And then on top of that, we had all of the practical effects on set, and a lot of them were behind making that storm, right? Simulating the storm atmosphere. So at almost all times while we were filming, there were just these massive fans blowing that just made me rethink everything in life, because they would go on and you couldn't hear yourself speak, you couldn't hear yourself think, you couldn't see. Sometimes I literally couldn't see because I have contacts, and so things would be blowing around. And there was a scene where I actually had my contact popped out of my eye, which has never happened while I'm filming. And so it was just all these things together. I just would laugh, like as we were nearing the end of filming, and I was just like, and I thought the hardest thing would be acting opposite, my Gorn friend, and it was just like that was the easiest part.
Very cool.
We had Open Pike Night, and our friends and callers have been calling her Gorntegas. Did you guys have a name for her on set?
That's so funny. I'm sure the crew members did. I just love that Warren is our Gorn, so it would just be Warren the Gorn, which for me was kind of perfect. But no, I can't think of any time where I gave her a name. Oh, although sometimes, when George would be opposite me and he'd be my eye line, he'd be like Grumpy Gorn, or Sad Gorn. It'd be the different Gorns, So all I could think about is George just being Grumpy Gorn. And I'm like, again, I don't know if that's helpful. And yet, I would not have done it any other way.
I love it. So we did speak with Alan McElroy, as you mentioned, and along the lines of the acting challenges, he seemed to indicate that you didn't really need to do much acting when you were eating the bug meat, because it was indeed very gross. Can you talk about that?
Yes. So that bug meat, I worked really closely with our excellent props team, and they put so much thought and care and research into everything that they do on the show, and particularly with this episode, because it was my character's big episode. It was like the most closely I worked with them. And for that bug meat, I told them, I said I really want it to be nasty, because it'll just make it real for me as I'm eating it, that it's something that is just, she does not want to eat, but she's got to do it. And then what a lot of people don't know, my entire cast knows this, and my family know this, I have a really strange aversion to most fruit, right? It's an interesting thing. It's the taste and the texture, etc. Most fruit, not all fruit. But we only have not very long in this interview here, so we won't get into it. But the funny thing is that the props team didn't know that, and they ended up making the flavor of the goo and the things was the flavor ended up being let me think. Yes, mango and cherry, which like you could, and so it was just like, okay, and I didn't explain to them that is just like something that would actually in life make me just make not good things happen. And then they added, I think it was on the day or the day before they told me about it, or it's definitely, maybe it was on the day, at least I realized that it was happening. They added, and you'd have to speak with them in props to find out exactly what it was, but it was like Oreo chunks or chunks of something that was hard in it.
Oh.
But again, fact check that with them, what it was. All I remember is on the day when I bit into it, I'm like going back into my memory, and I'm there right now. When I bit into it, it was amazing because it was disgusting. It was just truly disgusting. But I was in it to win it. And my favorite part, and the chunks too, because of the way that they like crunched in my mouth, like it felt like my brain registered it as like bone. So it just added to the level of like what is this that we are doing with our lives. And then what I loved is I completely went into, and I was also kind of like actually gagging, but I went into, and I knew, I'm like, we have cameras on me, I'm like, let's do it. And then I love that when they yelled cut, and I'm there and I'm, having a moment, I look up and it's just a ring of crew members around me, including like the medic, because they thought I was literally sick. And then I'm like, did we get it? Did we get it? Like, no, I'm fine. But like, it's real and it's also acting and it's also real and it's also, but like, did we get it? I'm fine. I'm like, I can do this all day as long as we get the shot we need. And then in the episode, I feel like we could have elongated the time with that scene because I really gave my all to it. And then I hear that like it's the longest episode of the season anyway, so I could understand why they had to like cut it. But I just loved like watching it. It was like one of those moments where I'm just like, oh man, they cut like all the gagging and the just the sounds of retching and. But it was probably because it was just too much. But yeah, the props team did an amazing job, and that's what it was. And so it was like the texture was like, it was like gooey and icky and solid. It was perfect. It was perfect for what it needed to be.
That's fantastic.
That's great. It sounds like in the prop team's head, they're like, oh, we'll make it taste, nice and fruity. It'll be much easier for her. It's like, no, actually, they're helping in the opposite way.
Yeah.
It was just horrid. And I appreciated them greatly.
That's good. That's amazing. Like you mentioned, you jumped right into a all Ortegas kind of Fear Factor episode, I guess. What was it like working with Alan and Andrew on this very intense experience for you on Strange New Worlds?
Oh my goodness, Andrew and Alan, we made a dream team. Like I remember when we finished shooting the episode, like there's something when you shoot a film, right? And also at the end of a season, when you're doing a season of television, but when you finish shooting a film and you've been on location with the same group of people for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, like you really feel like you've become, and in many ways you have like a family. And when you leave from that, like there's almost like this drop, right? It's like just almost like this you go into this period of mourning, of depression, because like you guys have been separated. I went into that when this episode was finished filming because I missed them so much. Like it was, and I remember like going for a run and like texting Alan and Andrew, and I'm just like, you guys went home on the plane already, like as soon as we finished filming. That's how tight we were. Like we were all just so connected. Andrew was incredible. This was his first time directing, but when I found that out, I knew that he was, our editor extraordinaire. And so I think that editors, like writers, are rock stars. And editors know us so well, right? Because they know the show so well because they're watching us all the time. They are putting essentially the episodes together. And so I had met Andrew a few times. I remember I met him first at the premiere of Strange New Worlds in New York City of season 1. And I was just like, he's our editor. So when I found out that he was directing the episode, I'm like, perfection, And the times I'd met him too, I was just like, we got on really well. And he was just so wonderful because he was so present and he knew exactly what he wanted. He knew what he was going to be cutting into and out of. But then beyond that too, like he was just really fantastic at speaking to me as an actor and as Melissa and like, explaining to me what he wanted and me being able to ask questions that it was just, he got all the boxes that you need to check, to be a director that actors love. He did that. And then right by his side every single day was Alan. And I just felt like every day I'm like, we're nailing it because we have just this amazing team getting all the angles of everything. Now there were definitely times where, because, so much of what you're doing and so much of what I was doing in the episode was just me. Mm-hmm. I was, there would be these moments of just like, is this working? Is what's happening here? Like, you start to feel yourself like you're losing your mind. Andrew and Alan would be there to be like, it's working. And for Alan, I'd be like, is this capturing, is this, what you envisioned when you wrote it? And he would be like, yes, and more. And things are happening that, is exactly what you want to see as a writer when you're on set, seeing your script come to life. So yeah, Andrew and Alan, I mean it so sincerely. I cannot wait to work with them again. And I I think they think the same, but you'd have to ask them.
They do.
They do.
We can confirm that Alan had a ton of fun. We've spoken to him. We were lucky to get him twice this season. Once for each episode.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And yeah, the guy is a huge Star Trek fan, and it feels like you helped a real dream come true for him. Like, this was maybe a bucket list Star Trek episode for Alan.
Oh my goodness, yes. And also that too, like getting from him just all this knowledge and all these tidbits and kind of learning about Easter eggs that we were putting in there. But you really just felt like, anything Star Trek related, like, I could have asked Alan and he would have had an answer for me. And that also just builds all this trust and just you feel a real sense of, okay, this is going to work. We know what we're doing and we're going to do it.
Yeah. It sounds like it came together on set in the way that it hit us fans, where we were like, we have been waiting for this for so long. Like, we've wanted this. The pieces, the little threads are all over the place, but like to have it just all happen at once. I mean, I know that I'm not the most critical person in the world, but it is absolutely my favorite episode of the season by a good chunk.
Oh, so, thank you.
Certainly. You had mentioned the semi-insane working conditions with all the fans and the dust. Alan mentioned that as well. So one of our frequent callers, Marcy, specifically wanted to know, how did you keep that hood on with all that wind? Because every time she tries to pull off like the post-apocalyptic costume, her hood always falls off.
Yes. Well, you tell Marcy, you were watching this right now, it was not easy. And kudos to the crew and to our hair team and to everybody it felt like every day we got so much accomplished and there weren't enough hours in the day to do everything. Like it was really like we were just, like we were just trying to do everything and it just felt like the days were shorter than they needed to be, and it was just because we were packing so much into it. And so when you would have these seemingly little issues, like, your hood is flying back. It was not. It was a massive issue, and we needed to find a solution for it. And you have my hair that's underneath. Like, my hair is very thick, and it's full on the top. And I'm trying to think. They would clip it back, and then there would be times, too, where it, like, wouldn't be clipped in enough, and I would know. And I'm like, it's not gonna happen. And, sometimes you just have to let everybody, well, it's just like F around and find out. All right, everyone's like, no, it's going to be fine. And I'm like, okay, and all the pieces are in place, the fans, all the things are about to happen in action. And I'm like, all right, and there it goes flying off my head. And so there was a lot of like pinning in place. And it was also because for me, it's important that nothing that's on me in any way constricts my performance. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there's so many elements, and especially with an episode like this, there's so many elements that are out of your control that when it comes to the costume pieces and everything on my person, I want it to feel real to the character, real to the situation, and also not to drive me, Melissa, batty. Do you know? Because I'm also like a stickler for continuity. I see everything, which is difficult and also a very good problem, but I see everything, and so with the hood staying on, it was not easy. It was definitely, every time we would need to kind of work on it. And sometimes the fans were like extra powerful, right? And so there'd be times where it was like, and it wasn't just me asking, of course, it was other crew members where we had to like dial them back depending on what was happening. But it was so difficult because we're trying to simulate this growing storm. Mm-hmm. I remember the chess scene in particular was very funny because the like the parchment, that I roll out, that has the chessboard, and the little pieces, which were so fantastic. It was like one of the little things that the props team gave me afterward, to take from set.
Oh, that's cool.
It would be like, we'd have it all set up and then it would blow away. But then you'd have to set it all up again, and props would have like this picture of what the chess pieces had been arranged in, and so that it's this like thing of like you feel like it's this very small trivial thing that you're doing, but it's not. They're resetting all the pieces, and you have to do that, and then and then we'd go again, and they're blown off, and so then we'd tape it down to the rock, and so Marcy, it was not easy, but I'm glad that you appreciated it wasn't.
I love that. And John, I promise you can have the next one. I just have to say one thing.
Go for it.
Because you told me I can't just gush this whole interview because we have limited time. I will say, do not worry about your performance being restricted. The scene where it's just your eyes because your whole face is covered with that scarf, like incredibly emotive, very effective.
Oh, yeah.
You knocked it out of the park constantly in this episode. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Like really and truly, like the last few days have been so beautiful and overwhelming. And you know, I had a mini press junket a few days ago, and all the articles coming out from that. And then in addition to that, all the fans and Strange New Worlds fans, OG Star Trek fans, fans who are, critical about everything, and hearing from them what this episode has meant to them, how many times they've watched it, and what it means to them in like the canon of Star Trek, and how it already is, like one of their favorite episodes. Like that is not a thing I'm taking lightly. Like I'm just sitting back and being like, what is happening? And also I have a lot of, and you guys know this because we've spoken about it, but I have a lot of Trekkies in my family. And so for me, like my biggest, who I'm waiting to hear from are my family members, because they don't hold back, they give me the truth.
Right.
And when I got all of their feedback and how they were just like, loved it, I was just like, I could finally relax. But it has been, the last few days have just been something out of this world. And so it's nice to know that just my eyes, when I'm wrapped in all the things that, and also even when I do feel constricted and when it is like painful, like those wigs in the murder mystery episode, you don't see it because I'm a professional,
Yes.
Someday we will definitely have you back on to talk about the rest of the season too, for sure.
Oh goodness, yeah, and I'll let you know what my family thought about those wigs. Again, they are. That's why I love them. I'm like, you give it to me straight, and they were like, why did you let them do that? And I'm like, I'm like, set life is interesting. You can only fight for so much.
Yeah. So this is, you are part of a big ensemble show, but you were not with them for shooting this. What was that separation like on set for you and the rest of the cast? Was that a strange experience? Were they shooting their part at the same time you were shooting yours? No. So it was and it wasn't. Like for me, I feel like so much of what I've done, and I've had a very long career as a working actor, and I come from growing up, I have a theater background and I love theater, and I do stand up, and so I love doing things where it is just me, because I can do that. But with this, I realized, when I first got to set, what you always have, I feel, or at least I do, there's this massive feeling of responsibility when you come to set, and and there's 150 plus crew members who have been working already several hours before you get there to set everything up. You have your stunt team, your special effects team. You have everybody who's doing all this work, and then when they yell action, that's your time to do what you do, right? And there's a feeling of just like, don't screw this up. And so when you're the only person on set and you have all those crew members, there's like that extra level of like, what my concern was that I was going to get sick at some point during the filming, because the kind of like the one thing you don't want to happen. And I was just like, my body willed away anything. We're like, not no. And so getting to set and working on the AR wall, as well as the stages. Yeah. I just kind of dialed in, and there were days that were particularly tough because of just the nature of making an episode this difficult. But everyone was just so fantastic, and I'm sure actors always say this about their crew members and about their crew, but we just have such a lovely, outstanding team. And I just felt a great deal of responsibility to always step it up every single day. In terms of being on set, like I had my family come and visit those 2.5 weeks, because I got to feel what it's like when it almost felt like I was like stranded, like in a desert kind of, right? Okay. And so I would go home like at night, and you've had a whole day of all these emotions and all these things, and it really, I could see why somebody doing this for a longer period of time, you start to get a little bit like, and so having my family come and having them visit set, and having them see it was really, really special. Anson came one day, he brought his friend for a visit, and I got like
I got teary-eyed when I saw him. It was very funny. I did not expect that. And I gave him this big hug. Like, you would have thought that we hadn't seen each other in years. Like, we hadn't seen each other, like, in a week and a half, you know? But no, I was definitely, like, I just, you know, I knew that this was my episode. A lot was riding on it. And I also felt the responsibility of, we have 10 episodes in a season, and essentially one of them was a whole lot of me. So I was just like, you know, this is you know, I asked for it. You guys asked for it. So
you're welcome. Yeah. Well, while we get to the end of this interview, what is your favorite moment? What do you treasure the most from this episode?
Oh, so many. I'm trying to think. I think definitely, you know, the scene when Ortegas is with the Gorn, and when they have that just really great, beautiful moment of, we're not broken. You know, you can go through so much in life, and things that beat you down, and that you get back up, and sometimes and often you will, you know, fall down again. But you get back up, and this idea of like that you can always get put back together, that you're never broken. Does that make sense? And so for me, it encapsulated, you know, what was the theme of this episode. Well, there's a lot of themes, but this one for me was just like, you see two people who, or you see a person and a Gorn, who have been through so much. And with the Gorn, right, her whole thing is that, you know, she will not be welcomed back, you know, because of what has happened to her. And I think that resonates with people in so many ways. It has certainly resonated with fans in the last few days. And so doing that scene, and again, like, we shot so much, and even with the long runtime of the episode, I was like, we could have probably had another hour in there. And that scene when I get to tell her that we're not broken no matter what happens, you know, I think that's huge. No matter what happens in life, you know, we have, you know, we figured this out. We've been figuring this out. And that for me on a personal level, and also as an actor and in the episode, just resonated very deeply. And yeah, I'm sure if we had more time, I could tell you about like my 10 top favorite moments. But yeah, that one for me was just it was really special.
That's
very
fantastic.
Cool.
Melissa, thank you very much for speaking with us today. We are so excited. We finally got the Ortegas episode, and we're looking forward to the next, what do we have now? 17 episodes of Strange New Worlds left.
So much.
It's been a crazy ride, and I can't imagine how busy you are with post-production, pre-production, press, and everything. So thank you again.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And you guys have been just fantastic, and you know that. And on my way to Ireland, I had asked my sister Soraya for if she had any stickers. Right, I wanted to put something on, you know, our suitcases, and you know, with our names on it. And what stickers did she provide? Was the I Fly the Ship stickers that you guys gave her. And I was like, perfect. So then I'm like, and I wrote, you know, I Fly the Ship, Melissa. My name is Melissa. I fly the yes. So I was just like, hopefully there's somebody who works at the airport who's a Strange New Worlds fan who's going to appreciate this.
Oh, man. That's great. We need to make luggage tags for that, Jesse.
Oh, good call. We'll look into that.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And how do we get this poster?
Yes, so this guy is from a taco truck that they bought, like, on set. You know, during filming, we will, you know, every episode we'll get like some sort of a food truck, a dessert truck, a coffee truck, and one of the many trucks we got during the filming of season 3 was a taco truck brought to you by Andrew Coots, Henry Alonzo Myers, and Alan McElroy.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and then afterwards I got it, and so it's been sitting in my apartment, and I was just like, what can I put up for this impromptu interview? And I was like, finally.
Well, we appreciate
so cool.
you making time for the impromptu interview. We know folks are super excited about the episode, and we're like, we got to capitalize on this, got to get the word out from Ortegas herself. So thanks for joining us again.
Happy to be here.